Good morning, Florida Lacrosse fans. Sorry for that 2-minute delay. Once again, I accidentally hit the done button instead of the go button. That's why you won't see anything in the comment below. I'll put a comment up with everything that's in this broadcast. Sorry for that. Well, welcome to Morning Coffee. Lee Roggenberg, your host. It's Thursday, October 20th. Welcome to the broadcast. Relatively light day on straight lacrosse information today. So we're going to have a little bit of fun with something that I saw on the Twitter thread. Excuse me. Let's get to our morning ritual. Oh, that's good. Black Rifle coffee today. Black something or other is the tag of the coffee line. Beyond Black. That's it. That's what we're drinking today. Beyond Black with Black Rifle. It's a vet-owned firm. If you don't mind spending an extra $1 or $2 on their coffee, it goes to a good cause. So check them out. Remember to follow us on Twitter at FloridaLX. Follow us on Facebook at FLA, LAX, NEWS. On the web, FloridaLacrosseNews.com. Don't forget to subscribe to the channel and like the video. Contact us for marketing and advertising opportunities. We've welcomed aboard Legendary Sports Network. Legendary Sports Group. Dave Cottle's group. Thank you, Dave. And we'll be announcing the other advertisers, marketers, etc. as we go along. Remember Varsity Sports Network, broadcast partner, Brevard Sports Network, and many of the other outlets around the state that provide content too. Check them out. So let's get to the news. The only commit that I noticed in the last day and a half, Bowls 2024, Gavin Borey on the boys' side is committed to High Point. Good luck, Gavin. Let's see your commitment article go up. Go to the homepage, click on Submit a Commitment, fill in the questions, upload a picture or two. High school uniform preferred. Please don't give me a club uniform picture. And congrats again to you, Gavin. Cardinal Newman boys named a new head coach, Cam Bazin. And West Broward boys named Rudy Williams, who those of you who are familiar, used to be the Cardinal Gibbons coach some years back, had left the state, is back here. Congrats to you, Rudy. Good luck to both of you building programs. We have Stetson announced that their prospect camp on the women's side will be January 14th. The NALCA, the National Interscholastic Lacrosse Coaches Association, will be holding their induction ceremony. Remember that Terry Crowley was elected to their Hall of Fame this season, and Skip Flanagan also in this class, mostly known for Avon Old Farms and Case Western, but has helped out the St. Andrews program and with local kids in this area too. So congratulations to both of you and the rest of the elected. U.S. Lacrosse Magazine, I'm sorry, let me add one other thing. I went back and I checked the NILCA website, and I noticed that Roy Kelly, longtime coach and administrator down at Ransom Everglades, was actually their National Man of the Year in 2014. Just wanted to acknowledge Roy for that. He's always been very helpful when I've had questions, and enjoyed talking to him. USA Lacrosse Magazine article, Paul Ohanian, excuse me. He's got an article up we'll link to today. Came out a couple of days ago. First-time players. This is a boys article. I don't know if there's, it's kind of hard to say if there's a similar one for the girls' headgear at this point. But he wrote an article, Helpful Hints for First-Time Buyers of Boys Lacrosse Helmets. So, we'll link to that. I think that that's a pretty interesting idea, and I'd like to see that we try to find a little bit more information on equipment and just kind of distinguishing what you're looking for, particularly for the first-time parents, which obviously have a lack of knowledge of where to go, what to do, what to buy, etc. So, we'll link to that article too. Shootout for Soldiers Twitter feed at hashtag SF, well, not really, at SFS, LACROSSE. We've had events for them in the past in this state. Like to see if anyone out there is running an event. Again, please get in touch with us. We're more than happy to put up the press release and the coverage on that for you. The Ponte Vedra boys schedule was released and got a lot of props for it on the Twitter thread, and also from me too. A lot of people talking about, for instance, the trip to Bullis up in Maryland, and that they're playing 4 state champions. The 2 games that I'm really going to be fascinated by are going to be their second game of the year, February 18th. They're traveling to Lake Mary, a rematch of the regional final that went down to the wire. And both teams are loaded this year. And boy, if I could find a way to get up there, I'd love to do it. I'm not sure. It's much harder for me to do the travels, obviously during the week. But keep an eye. That's one I'm definitely keeping an eye on, and all fans in that area should keep an eye on. And then the rivalry on the river, which Bowles is hosting this year. They're scheduled to play Winter Park in the broadcast game. And that's March 25th, my son's birthday. I can convince him to take a road trip with me. And I can tell you that that was a marvelous semifinal, FHSAA semifinal game. And both teams, again, Winter Park's got a lot coming back also. And we'll just definitely keep an eye on that. So those are the games that I'm really keeping an eye on this year. Again, it's nice to see new regular season games being played. I don't know if Ponte Vedra and Winter Park have played a regular season game for maybe if ever, for all I know. And just, again, it's showing that one of the benefits of not necessarily having to play all of your district games is you're going to get to see a couple of these intra-state rival games that we haven't really seen in the past. So mark that one down your calendar. Do March 25th, Winter Park. Good luck to the Sharks on competing with this schedule. Certainly, no matter what the rivalries are within the state, when a top Florida team is playing a top out-of-state team, we're all in your corner. Good luck. I noticed that Varsity Sports Network tweeted out that this is Officials Appreciation Month. You've all heard me rail on getting off the refs, understanding that this is a very tough thing to do. Glad to see that they're getting their share of the attention of this too. I've mentioned before, kids, get your certification. It helps you become a better player. It puts spending money in your pocket. I mean, if you go out to a summer, club event, and they give you the under 10 or under 9 or whatever that particular age group is going to be in that tournament, it's nice little spending money. It really is. And you're helping to give back to the game. There are a lot of people out there who really give back, and this is another way that you can do so. Not only enjoy and respect the officials, but go ahead and get certified. Younger people, believe me, you won't regret it, and we can certainly use it in this state. Okay. Excuse me. Came across another very interesting tweet that kind of got me thinking, and it was from Super 70 Sports. They asked about the greatest sports upsets of all time. And, obviously they led off with one that I think an awful lot of people would agree with, which was the Miracle on Ice in 1980, the U.S. knocking off the then Soviet Union or the then Russian juggernaut back then. I tend to disagree a little bit with that. And I'll get into that before, but it got me thinking about, have there been any really great lacrosse upsets that we can really point out as being worthy of, say, a top 25 listing? And to be honest, it's kind of hard to think of one. A lot of people think back to when Morgan State knocked off then number one Washington and Lee, and called that maybe the greatest upset in lacrosse history. But to be honest, that Morgan State team was a top 25 ranked team 4 of the 5 years of that period, and I think including that season. So even though the story is wonderful, and you can read it in the book 10 Bears that Miles Harrison and Chip Silverman co-authored, I still think that, if you're a ranked team and you knock off a number one team, I'm not sure I could really put it all that high end. I had witnessed one in 1979 when St. Lawrence knocked off Hobart in the Division III semifinals in a year that no one expected that to occur. That's probably the biggest upset I saw in person in the lacrosse world. Certainly when John I. Leonard finally snapped their long losing streak down here, that was great too. But it's not a sport that we get an awful lot of those. Bryant knocking off Syracuse in the NCAA first round. But again, that was a pretty darn good Bryant team too. So, I want to just get back to the Miracle on Ice one and point out that I think there are 3 that I can think of, at least in American sports history, and a 4th that we lost that I can think of also, that certainly rival Miracle on Ice in my mind. The reason I kind of downplay Miracle on Ice a little bit is because of 2 things. Number one, we didn't realize at the time how talented that USA team truly was. When you look at that roster and you see what those players did in the NHL, it's really extraordinary. The 3 centers, the 3 top-line centers were Mark Johnson, Mark Pavlich, and Neil Broughton. Broughton is in the Hall of Fame. Johnson probably won't make it, but was a heck of a player for many years. Mark Pavlich was a point per game player in the NHL for 4 straight years. And I guess injuries kind of sidelined his career at that point. Kenny Morrow, 4 Stanley Cups, is a key member of the Islanders. Mike Ramsey, 17 years in the NHL, multiple years as an all-star. Dave Christian scored plenty of goals in the NHL. Steve Kristoff. And, I think part of the reason that we kind of forget about this is that the 2 biggest names from that roster over the years, Mike Eruzione and Jim Craig, were probably were the 2 who didn't really. Eruzione never even tried to play NHL, and Jim Craig had a brief NHL career that unfortunately didn't turn out into stardom for him. So we kind of forget just how great that team turned out to be over the years. Then if any one of you have seen the documentary, I believe it's an ESPN one about of miracles in men, which looks at the miracle from the Russian standpoint. And you kind of realize that team was kind of ripe, for losing a game. People forget also in that Olympics, they were trailing in the 3rd period to both Finland and Canada in the pool play before pulling those games out. So that's why I kind of see that, Yeah, it's always had this legendary status, and it's wonderful. But I'm going to throw 4 items in there uh, that I think are just as big a deal. Certainly, Buster Douglas's defeat of Mike Tyson for the heavyweight boxing championship. That's got to be right up there. Milan winning the Indiana State high school basketball tournament in the early 50s, which was chronicled in the movie Hoosiers. For those who are not aware, that actually there's a lot of historical accuracy in that movie. Uh, Obviously, the names were changed, but still, the path of a tiny school that won against a major urban South Bend team in that championship, getting all the way through is truly incredible. The loss was an exact opposite when the USSR basketball team knocked us off in 1972. Obviously, a lot of controversy, but it's still in the record books as a Soviet win, and that's got to be considered a huge upset too. But my personal favorite, the one that I think is really the all-time greatest upset in American sports history, was Francis Ouimet's 1913 U.S. Open golf championship. Those of you who have watched the movie The Greatest Game Ever Played, that was chronicled. It's also relatively historically accurate, except for the ending. A little bit of a pet peeve of mine is that Francis Ouimet did not win the championship in the playoff by one shot on a putt at the end. He defeated Harry Vardon by 5 shots and Ted Ray by 6 in the playoff. Now, to give you a historical context on this, imagine if you were about 10 years ago and you had Tiger Woods and Phil Mickelson and a guy who was a caddy who happened to qualify in a qualifier who had never played in a pro tournament before, qualifying for the U.S. Open, tying Phil and Tiger in the playoffs, and then beating them by 6 and 5 strokes respectively in that 18-hole playoff. That's what Francis Ouimet did that tournament. And as much as I loved the Miracle on Ice myself, being a big hockey guy, I can tell you that for my money, Francis Ouimet's win is the greatest upset in the history of sports. And I'm sure I could come up with a couple of others that I didn't have a chance to research. But, it's just, that's my favorite. Okay. All right. Again, remember, follow us on Twitter, Florida LX, Facebook, FLA, LAX, on the web, FloridaLacrosseNews.com. Remember to subscribe if you've not done so. Like the video if you haven't done so. And always remember, grow the game, respect the game, and honor the game. We'll see you Tuesday morning, 8:30. Next edition of Morning Coffee with Florida Lacrosse News. This is Lee Roggenberg saying have a great weekend and so long from the Sunshine State.